Yeah, you guys want to start off with just kind of telling us sort of the high school story about when you met and
Yes, I remember.
do you remember?
Most of it.
You always tell the story about meeting 8th grade.
So you tell it. I'll just listen along. Yeah, I'll cut you off, don't worry.
That's true. So, well, I met Shellie first when she was cheerleading, and I was drum major of the marching band in 8th grade.
So centuries ago.
Eons ago. Eons ago, that's right. And they got the cheerleaders to, we didn't have a banner squad to do the letters for the school. And so they enlisted the cheerleaders, and Shellie was like the cheerleader doing that.
Wait, that's how you guys met?
Well, we actually met before
actually,
then, but that's the most interaction
we
we had probably in that age.
Yeah, I would say so. It was sort of the first time we had to be close together because Devon had to try to teach us how to move our banners around and stuff.
That's right.
I don't know, I have a hard time picturing Dad being like drum major.
It was good. That was
I
a good
heard
drum
he was
major.
really
He
good.
liked to tell people what to do. So it was a good lesson early on.
I remember working on a book report together for AP English in 10th grade. And then after that, in our junior year in school, started hanging out together. There was a small group of sort of a college prep crowd that
Kind of
hung
nerdy
out.
crowd.
Yeah. And so
But I think I was working for your family by the time we were in.
I think when you
my
were
junior year
17, I think, when that started.
Always
She worked
fun.
our cider mill in our senior year.
I was really good
in high school.
cider
She was a
press
very
girl.
good cider.
Best
one we've ever had.
we've ever had.
Wow.
And we went to prom together twice, but we weren't dating. We were just best friends. And so
Totally platonic.
that's
at
right.
prom.
That's right. So we went to prom together twice, and then I went away to school, and Shellie stayed locally. Went to Crafton Hills.
And you went to
Azusa Pacific. I went to Azusa Pacific University, and then she went to Cal State San Bernardino. And I would come home on weekends and in the fall and work the orchard, and Shellie would come up and work the orchard. And then after that, we decided we got to get engaged. We gotta get married.
we're doing love. But we're just friends.
A little bit of both.
Started off with friendship for a long time.
So how long did it take to get married?
2 years.
Wow.
We got married after our junior year in college.
Wow. That's a pretty long engagement.
It
was
was
a long
very
day.
long.
And when you guys
Too
were both working the farm, neither one of you guys had thoughts of long term doing this,
For the
right?
farm, no, because that was the small farm. It was before the big property was bought and Riley's farm started. So it was just Mom and Dad's 12-acre piece. So it really was not. It was not a career. It was a sideline hobby weekend thing in the fall, and so we were both on different career paths.
And you were thinking of like political journalism, right?
Yeah,
Political science and
I majored in political science and communication journalism emphasis.
And then
like
you wanted to be a
elementary
elementary
teacher.
school math teacher. No, I guess
No,
in
I
elementary
didn't.
teach
Math
everything.
was, I got to the,
She just was good at it.
I liked math, but I didn't want to go to that much math.
Yeah.
So it got,
She quit after second year of calculus. She said, "This is too much."
it's not fun. I don't like it.
Wow.
And then I substitute taught in Beaumont
Hmm.
and did construction up here mostly.
Really?
Yeah.
Up at camp.
At the Christian Conference
Oh.
Center, and then different jobs. So Buck Hay for the first year. So it was sort of embarrassing. We'd gotten our degrees and then weren't using them, but we were, paid for school and everything else, and then
Why is that
Because-
embarrassing? That's what everybody does.
it's true.
That's tradition now.
Exactly. But so when the big farm was bought, it was pretty much when we were doing those things. So it was bought at the end of our
Well,
senior year in school.
They bought it, they came up and said, how did it
Me and
go?
Dad,
Your dad really pushed Grandpa into buying the large farm. And I really was hoping we wouldn't. I thought it would.
Really?
I did not want to do that for the rest of my life at the time. And then as we looked around the property, and it was beautiful, and it was something, it seemed like it was a good idea, then we got intrigued by it, I think.
Did
right?
you foresee at that time that you would have to basically, like, that would
Give
be
up.
a life
Yeah, no.
career? Or
That's, I think, what scared me. What about you? Dad didn't, he seemed to be more on board with it, but I was like praying that it wouldn't go through, like big time. And then we ultimately had to be the ones that, escrow opened and closed in one day.
And you have a story about that.
Yes.
You saw
So
that.
it's the Wilshire family own the property. So Grandpa drug his feet till the very last second, but he wanted to get the tax write-off. So he agreed to do it on December 31st, right?
December like 30th.
30th.
And we needed to complete the sale by the 31st.
At the sale of
At the end of 86.
Over 200
because
acres
the
of
tax laws changed in 87.
Oh, wow.
So it was like everything kind of came together for a perfect storm. So these 22-year-olds, were we 22?
Yeah.
Yeah, 22-year-olds were put in charge of getting the paperwork from the real estate office, driving to San Diego, getting it signed by the Wilshire family, driving out to Pico Rivera, where Grandpa set us across from a huge desk at his office and pointed at us with his pointing finger and said, "I'm holding you two personally responsible for this."
For the success of this operation.
And we're all, okay, all right. Whatever.
Yeah, go ahead and sign
By that time you were
Did you
pretty
sign
excited.
it? By then we were excited. So we signed the paperwork, and then we had to race it up to Ukaipa, to the real estate office, and in our Volkswagen, our Volkswagen, actually we were married by then, and we had to race it up here before they closed, and they held the doors open late for us, and then we got it in, and we were owners of Grandpa was owners of the property, we were slaves.
Yeah.
And that was in a day. You did all that in a
All
day.
in one day. A little crazy. That should have actually been an omen for the rest of our life.
It will always be crazy.
Rushing around to make something happen. Yeah.
And you guys had only been married for not even a year yet?
Not a year. No,
Yeah.
it was like 7 months. We got married in May.
Wow.
This is the end of December.
Yeah. Yeah, not a whole year.
Yikes.
Our whole life changed.
On an about face.
Anyway.
So then kids came along much
Well,
later.
it took a while to have
We
kids.
waited. We waited to have kids because we
We
were
wanted
young,
to-
getting married, and then we weren't making any money on the farm.
Mhm.
So it was all.
So we thought at some point we might. That
Yeah.
was, the thought.
So we wanted to get it established first. So that's why we were working off-site jobs and everything we could to keep the money and
What
the
we-
funds for redeveloping
Hmm.
and growing the business.
Yes.
And so
7 years. we
So
waited.
7 years we waited, and kids came along, and I thought we'd put you in school and do the traditional thing, and
Well-
you were pretty.
There was some issues going on with the school district, and the whole Ukaipa was up in arms about some of the things they were enacting in the school system, which was a long time ago.
It's true.
And so that's when we decided to homeschool. I
So
think
you
that's
decided to
when
make life even easier on yourselves and
Exactly.
homeschool us all.
So whether that was successful or not, you guys actually are probably the better judge of that.
And you guys
Yeah.
all went to college, so I think that was...
Yeah, whatever gaps in education you might have had, you certainly didn't see that when you went off to school.
Mm-mm.
So
No.
all done well. So
Yeah, and I really like
we
doing
couldn't have
homeschool.
done too badly.
Yeah, I thought we did okay.
So, like, looking at where you guys were then versus where you are now, it seems like that was not foreseen at all. But it seems like most of this hasn't been foreseen,
Right.
right?
Yeah, and we're convinced life certainly throws you curves that you're not expecting. Proverbs says, "Man plans his ways, that the Lord might choose otherwise," and that's through circumstances and family dynamics and all that. Things have changed over time. So, being at the big farm at Riley's farm, we thought that was a lifetime.
Yeah.
Built the house over there.
Yeah.
Thought that was a forever thing, and then through the family circumstances ended up leaving there, and then we didn't flounder for a couple of years. We had a couple really great years here,
Yeah, we did.
just on our own little piece, but
I
we
think
couldn't
we
make
were
a
blessed
living
every
here.
time. We didn't
Yeah.
think we were going to be able to make a living here. That
But
was
right about the time it was sort of like, okay, we're
obvious.
gonna have to go get a real job.
Yeah.
Then the Wildlands called and really were interested in leasing to us. But you know, now look at what we've been able to do.
Yeah.
You know, with Los Rios, and we've taken that on and done well. And we're in recovery mode because of the fire. But I think that, frankly, to be honest with you, the groundwork is laid more or less with the next generation.
Yeah.
Because it's too much work if you guys weren't interested in it.
Right.
And the rebuild is going to be tough enough that if you weren't involved, then it'd be really,
Yeah. Kids weren't interested.
It'd
I
be
don't think
doubtful
could
that we
handle
would continue
Start
doing it
over.
at this scale, at least.
Yeah.
Yeah.
How's working together brought you
Has
closer
it?
together?
Yeah, I think so, actually. I mean,
It was rough at first.
you
You
know,
were pretty competitive.
we're interesting people because your mom is obviously a very strong person,
Oh.
very determined, very focused,
Mm-hmm.
hardworking, and I think most any farmer's wife is usually that way.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm not a passive person, so sometimes early on, especially, it was
Yeah. A lot of
lock
headbutting.
horns, and so it's really nice to reach a point.
Were you too
I don't
tired
know,
to fight?
Yeah, sometimes you'd be too tired to argue about something. but then,
Just joking.
I believe in roles, for good or bad. We each have a role to play, and we learned pretty quickly that she would do good in certain areas, and I would do better in other areas. And so we learned, I think, pretty quickly to section off and each do the thing we were good at. So I think, over the years, yeah, we're closer, and I think happier than ever.
Yes.
We are.
You better be.
Right?
Yeah, we've worked side by side all these years, and even though she might leave before me, usually now because she's baking pies all the
Wait,
time.
I thought you meant leave like
That's what I thought too.
go to heaven. You really had to get up earlier.
No.
You meant just leave the bed, not leave the planet.
That's right, exactly.
Yes, that is true. I get up earlier and you stay up
Yep,
later.
yep. So, but anyway, so no, I think, I don't know, I think we're in a sweet spot.
Yep.
And especially now, there's less demand